I punished myself during training. I did every day like 28, 30 rounds or 33 rounds. Sometimes 30, before when I was young, 36 rounds every day. And fighting for 12 rounds. So the Barrios fight, the Barrios one, I threw a lot of punches from first round to 11th round. I didn't feel tired. The same speed, the same combination, the same throwing punches. More punches throwing at the later rounds. Because on that fight, I worked every day 36 rounds. And the fight is 12 rounds, so it's easy.
Someone got Manny Pacquiao top 5.
Freddie Roach on the record saying he didn't want Pacquiao to fight for one. And I just think Top Rank wanted to protect Pacquiao because of the money issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was their cash cow, and you know.
But hell, you could have been the cash cow.
Listen, they don't think like that, you know. So they didn't want to mess up the money that they was getting from Pacquiao at the time. So other reasons, I don't know.
What weight were you guys gonna fight at?
140.
Terence Crawford just joined his camp, and what they're doing together? It might shock you. In a twist few fans saw coming, Terence Crawford has officially joined Manny Pacquiao's training camp. Not as an opponent, not as a rival, but as an ally. It's a collaboration no one expected, especially considering their intertwined history. For years, boxing insiders speculated about a possible mega fight between the two. Timing, politics, and promotional divides kept it from happening. And now, instead of throwing punches at each other, they're sharing knowledge, drills, and maybe even a few secrets. The atmosphere inside the Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles has shifted. There's an electric charge, not just because Pacquiao is back, but because Crawford, arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter today, is quietly absorbing every detail of the legend's process. They're not sparring for cameras. They're running side by side at dawn. They're breaking down film in silence. They're exchanging tips like craftsmen, comparing tools. This isn't just about conditioning or publicity. It's something much deeper. Both fighters are chasing legacy in very different ways. Pacquiao is looking to close the final chapter of an already legendary career with one last monumental victory. Crawford, on the other hand, is moving up 2 weight classes to face Canelo Alvarez. A risk so big it could redefine his career if he wins, or derail it completely if he doesn't. Their goals are different, their timelines are different, but their mindset? Strikingly similar. Each knows what it means to bet everything on a single night. In the quiet of that gym, 2 of boxing's most revered champions are preparing for war. Not against each other, but against expectation, age, and history itself. But behind the mutual respect and quiet focus, something deeper is unfolding. Because Pacquiao isn't just training, he's preparing for what could be the most dangerous and controversial fight of his life. Manny Pacquiao is 46 years old. He's been out of professional boxing for 4 years. And yet, on July 19th, he's not just stepping back into the ring, he's stepping into a world title bout for the WBC welterweight championship. His opponent? Mario Barrios, 30 years old, 6 feet tall, rangy, active, and hungry. A fighter with everything to gain and nothing to lose. The physical difference between the two was unmistakable when they faced off publicly for the first time. Barrios towered over Pacquiao, the kind of visual mismatch that immediately sparked concern. Fans didn't just notice the height. They saw the reach, the size, the youth. It wasn't just a fight poster. It looked like a reminder of time's relentless march. But here's the catch. This isn't an exhibition. This isn't a charity match. This is sanctioned, ranked, title-level combat. And Pacquiao isn't being eased back in. He's being thrown into deep water against a fighter who's not here to respect a legend. He's here to retire him. It didn't take long for the online boxing community to light up. Reactions ranged from awe to outrage. Some hailed Pacquiao's return as a final act of courage. Others saw it as reckless, even dangerous. This fight should never have been sanctioned. One veteran commentator said bluntly, "It's irresponsible." The worry wasn't just about legacy, it was about health. Could a 46-year-old body no matter how iconic, really withstand the punishment of a prime welterweight with something to prove? Yet, despite the noise, Pacquiao hasn't flinched. He's training with the intensity of a man who believes, not hopes, he can win. He's not talking about farewell tours. He's not making excuses for the loss to Yordenis Ugas in 2021. He's treating this fight like it's 2008 all over again. Mountain runs, mitt work, killer instincts. The same fire that built his legend is still burning. But while Pacquiao is pushing his body to its limits, critics are asking a different question. Should this fight even be happening at all? As soon as Manny Pacquiao's comeback was announced and the opponent revealed, the backlash was immediate and vicious. Boxing purists, sports analysts, and even longtime fans didn't just question the decision, they attacked it. Some called the fight disrespectful to the sport, others labeled it a clown show, and more than one prominent voice flat out called it dangerous. These weren't casual takes, they were warnings. One respected commentator even went as far as to say, "This is the kind of fight that makes the sport look unserious. Manny should be nowhere near a world title bout in 2024. And it wasn't just about the age gap, it was the optics. When Pacquiao and Barrios stood side by side at their first face-off, social media erupted. "He looks like a promoter next to a fighter," one fan posted. Another said, "This isn't a fight, it's a health risk with gloves on." The size difference was so stark that even supporters were forced to pause. Barrios, standing a full 7 inches taller, looked like he belonged in a different weight class, or a different sport. Pacquiao's age, size disadvantage, and time away from the ring formed a perfect storm of concern. These weren't the usual critics. These were people who had supported him through legendary wars against De La Hoya, Hatton, Cotto, and Mayweather. Now, they were worried for him. One longtime fan wrote, "This fight doesn't feel brave, it feels desperate, and I say that with love." The scrutiny didn't stop there. Why, people asked, was the WBC sanctioning this fight at all? Pacquiao hadn't fought professionally since 2021. His last official bout was a clear decision loss. He'd only been in a pair of exhibition matches since then, neither against elite-level opponents. And yet somehow, he was ranked number 5 in the welterweight division and immediately granted a title shot. Was it legacy? Was it money? Was it politics? Or was it just that the boxing world still couldn't let go of a legend? But while most of the world seemed to doubt him, one person didn't. And it wasn't a fan, a friend, or a promoter. It was Terence Crawford. When Terence "Bud" Crawford walked into Pacquiao's training camp, it wasn't just as a visitor or curious observer. He came to learn, and more importantly, to help. From the outside, this might look like a symbolic show of support. But behind the scenes, Crawford is immersed in the work. They're not posing for cameras. They're not performing for the press. Crawford and Pacquiao are training together with purpose and intensity. Hill sprints before dawn, midday mitt sessions, hours studying tape, conversations about timing, rhythm, and the subtle magic of elite footwork. Crawford, known for his icy calm and surgical precision inside the ring, sees something in Pacquiao that most of the public doesn't. He called the matchup with Barrios a 50-50 fight, not out of kindness or respect, but because, as he put it, Manny still has that hunger. That's what makes him dangerous. And Crawford would know. He's seen what happens when greatness refuses to fade quietly. He understands what it means to feel like the world is counting you out, even as you sharpen your tools in silence. Inside the gym, there are no egos, no status games, no talking down. Just two champions exchanging knowledge like old samurai preparing for separate wars. Crawford is absorbing what makes Pacquiao dangerous: the angles, the deception, the sudden bursts of speed that still surprise even seasoned observers. Pacquiao, in turn, is watching Crawford's calmness, his ring IQ, the way he dissects an opponent long before the first punch is thrown. Freddie Roach, Pacquiao's longtime trainer, watches them with quiet approval. For Roach, who once believed a Pacquiao versus Crawford fight was inevitable, this partnership feels surreal, but also perfect. Two legends, sharpening each other like blades, both chasing something more than just a win. And that's the key. Because this fight, this return, isn't really about rankings, belts, or legacy bonuses. It's about something far more personal. For Terence Crawford, the road leads to Canelo Alvarez, a fight that could reshape boxing's power dynamic. Moving up 2 full weight classes to challenge the Mexican icon isn't just bold, it's borderline reckless. But Crawford knows what's at stake. Beating Canelo wouldn't just make headlines, it would make history. And that kind of ambition, to face giants and walk away victorious, is exactly what drew him to Pacquiao in the first place. Because Manny Pacquiao isn't fighting for survival, he's fighting for control, for the ability to say when it's over, and how. He's made his money. He's won more titles than most fighters ever dream of. He's already a legend. But Pacquiao doesn't want to be remembered for a quiet fade. He wants one last miracle, one more shock to the system. He wants to silence the critics again. It's not the first time. When he stepped into the ring at 40 years old to fight the undefeated Keith Thurman in 2019, most believed his time had passed. Instead, Pacquiao dropped Thurman in the first round and outclassed him over 12. That win made him the oldest welterweight champion in boxing history and reminded the world that greatness doesn't always follow the rules. But that was 5 years ago, and now, with even more doubt swirling around him, Pacquiao is back. Not for the belt, not for the glory, but for the feeling. The feeling of proving everyone wrong one more time. Still, no matter how hard he trains or how focused he is, one question refuses to go away. How much does Manny Pacquiao really have left in the tank? It's one thing to want it, it's another to have it. Manny Pacquiao hasn't fought in a professional ring since 2021, when he suffered a unanimous decision loss to Yordenis Ugas. A bout many called the clearest sign that time had finally caught up. He looked slower, struggled with Ugas's length, and couldn't find the rhythm that once made him one of the most unpredictable fighters in history. That night, the explosiveness wasn't there. Neither was the bounce in his legs. And in a sport that punishes hesitation, Pacquiao looked, for the first time, like a fighter whose prime had truly passed. Since then, he's only stepped back in the ring for 2 low-stakes exhibition matches. And while they kept his name in the spotlight, they raised more questions than answers. Against Rukia Ampo, a far less experienced opponent, Pacquiao seemed flat-footed. His timing, once laser-sharp, looked a beat too slow. His signature flurries came in flashes, but without the sustained fury that used to overwhelm opponents. Meanwhile, Mario Barrios has remained active. He's fought through tough losses, rebuilt his momentum, and continued growing as a fighter. At 30 years old, he's entering his physical prime. He's tall, a full 7 inches taller than Pacquiao, with a longer reach and a body built for rangy tactical warfare. On paper, it looks like a mismatch. In person, it's even more obvious. Even Amir Khan, a former sparring partner and longtime admirer of Pacquiao, didn't hold back. "This might be a step too far," he said, with the tone of someone who wanted to believe, but couldn't ignore the reality. And yet, despite all the warning signs, despite all the data pointing against him, Pacquiao hasn't blinked, because there's something about how he's training now that changes the conversation entirely. He's not easing into this. He's attacking it like a man who refuses to grow old. Most fighters slow down as they age. Manny Pacquiao seems to be speeding up. If you walk into the wildcard gym right now, you won't see a legend coasting toward retirement, you'll see a machine. Pacquiao's back to the same brutal routines that defined his prime. Pre-dawn hill sprints, marathon mid-sessions with Freddie Roach, heavy bag drills that echo through the gym like gunshots. He's moving with purpose, not nostalgia. Every punch, every shuffle, every sweat-drenched round screams one message. He still believes he can win. And not just survive, win. Pacquiao told reporters, "I still feel the same fire. I still enjoy training. I still wake up before the sun and run like it's 2008. His doctor has cleared him. His heart, his lungs, his stamina, all checked. And Roach, who's seen every version of Manny, from raw prodigy to global superstar, says the same thing. He looks sharp, really sharp. There's a clarity in Pacquiao's focus. He's not fighting for a farewell tour. He's not chasing one last paycheck. He's not here to reminisce. He's here to win a world title. Again. To him, this isn't a comeback, it's a continuation. And if that sounds like veteran delusion, consider this. Terence Crawford isn't just watching him, he's studying him. In this camp, the roles aren't teacher and student, they're mirrors. Crawford watches closely as Pacquiao shifts his weight between steps, as he disguises punches with subtle feints, as he lands 3 punch combinations from angles that shouldn't even exist. What Pacquiao lacks in youth, he makes up for with muscle memory and deception. Tools he spent decades perfecting. And Pacquiao? He's learning too. From Crawford, he's absorbing the art of patience, the way to let a fight come to you. He sees how Crawford breaks down opponents mentally, not just physically, how he changes rhythm mid-round, how he reads an opponent's stance and instantly adjusts his approach. Freddie Roach watches it unfold and says it best. It's like watching 2 legends solve the same puzzle from opposite corners of the ring. They may be in different phases of their careers, but in that gym, the energy is the same. Sweat, precision, obsession. They're not just passing a torch, they're sharing it. And no one knows who'll carry the flame longer. Because what's coming on July 19th isn't just a fight, it's a collision between belief and reality, youth and experience, risk and reward. No one can say for sure what's going to happen when the bell rings. And that's exactly why this fight has the world on edge. Manny Pacquiao's return could end in disaster, a brutal reality check, a moment when age wins and the legend fades under the lights. Or it could be the greatest twist of his career, one more miracle from a man who's made a life out of shocking the world. Because he's not just fighting Mario Barrios, he's fighting time. He's fighting public doubt. He's fighting the idea that greatness has an expiration date. And what terrifies people most, especially those who love him, is that he might actually pull it off. Not because he has to, but because, deep down, he still believes. And that belief, that fire, that's what makes Manny Pacquiao dangerous. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video to support the channel. Subscribe to Boxing is Here for the latest updates, fight breakdowns, and expert analysis. And turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, peace out.